I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 12th, 2014. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry traveled to Amman, Jordan this evening, where he will meet tomorrow with Jordan's King Abdullah II on the current tensions and violence in Jerusalem and the region. Kerry will also meet tomorrow on the situation with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas. Jewish organizations here in the U.S. are expressing their deep concern for the recent wave of terror attacks in Israel, which just this week claimed the lives of a 20-year-old IDF soldier and 26-year-old Israeli woman, and the lack of reaction in the wake of the attacks, calling on the international community, the United Nations, and Palestinian Authority President Abbas to condemn the deadly violence. B'nai B'rith International said the United Nations' silence is a continuation of the double standard with which it treats Israel, noting that if these attacks occurred in any other country with the regularity that they do in Israel, there would be condemnation from the UN and across the globe. ADL National Director Abe Foxman said Abbas's outrageous and disgraceful silence is further evidence that he is abandoning his past commitments to nonviolence and to Israeli-Palestinian reconciliation. And leaders of the Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations, Chairman Robert Sugarman and Executive Vice Chairman Malcolm Hoenlein, said that Israel has demonstrated restraint, but no democratic society can allow the rule of law and the safety and security of its people to be endangered. Israel police are investigating a suspicious fire at a mosque in the West Bank in the Arab village of Al-Magir, north of Ramallah. As you may have seen on IBA News, it is unclear at this time who was behind the blaze and whether it was a price tag attack, referring to acts of vandalism by right-wing Jewish extremists in response to Israeli government policies in the settlements or to Palestinian terror. Islamic Jihad has vowed to avenge what they claimed was an intentional attack. French news agency AFP reports that lawmakers in France will vote later this month on a proposal asking the government to recognize Palestine as a state. This, the AFP cites, is according to a source within the parliament who said lawmakers will vote on November the 28th in what would be a symbolic vote only, similar to that recently held by the British Parliament. Israel rejects such unilateral actions, maintaining that a true and lasting peace agreement and reaching a two-state solution with the Palestinians can only be achieved by direct negotiations with Israel. Two United States senators traveled to Cuba yesterday to meet with jailed Jewish-American contractor Alan Gross and push for his release. Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona and Democratic Senator Tom Udall of New Mexico met for 2 hours with Gross, who was jailed in Cuba in 2009 to a 15-year sentence for, quote, crimes against the state, for supplying computers and internet access to the Jewish community there. Gross, who is 65, is suffering from several illnesses. The senators also met with Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez Parilla, but had no real progress to report regarding Gross's case. U.S. President Barack Obama announced the designation of a presidential delegation that will head to Germany to attend the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe Berlin Conference on Anti-Semitism 10th Anniversary Commemoration tomorrow. The delegation will be led by U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Samantha Power, and will also include Special Envoy to Monitor and Combat Anti-Semitism Ira Foreman, U.S. Holocaust Memorial Council member and professor of Modern Jewish and Holocaust Studies at Emory University, Dr. Deborah Lipstadt, and National Director of the Anti-Defamation League, Abe Foxman. And the president yesterday also announced 19 recipients of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor. Among the honorees this year, 3 civil rights activists who were murdered by the Ku Klux Klan in 1964. James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, and Michael Schwerner were in Mississippi trying to register voters during the Freedom Summer. This past June marked 50 years since their murders. 22-year-old Cheney was an activist from the local African-American community. 24-year-old Schwerner and 20-year-old Goodman were both Jewish activists from the New York area. Posthumous awards will be presented to their families on November the 24th. Senators from Mississippi and New York have been pushing for the recognition for the three, among them New York State Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, who called the three young men unsung heroes who sacrificed their lives in the fight for freedom, justice, and equality for all. And turning to our programming for tonight, Wednesday, November the 12th at 9 o'clock on L'Chaim, Mark Golub sits down for a panel discussion on President Obama's relationship to Israel and his foreign policy on Iran's nuclear program. That's with Stephen Boehm from the American Jewish Committee, columnist Eric Yaffe, Betty Ehrenberg of the World Jewish Congress, and Charles Small of the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy. That's here on JBS and jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 12th, 2014. I'm Teisha Bader.